Hey, welcome everyone. It's a blissful evening on a Monday here, starting the week off right. And tonight we're going to be starting the week off with Special Gaming Cup 2025. And on the horizon tonight will be a match between Sin and Sen. That's totally not going to be causing any kind of pronunciation issues in the whole night here. But if you don't already know us, my name is Merlin, JPC, feel free to call me Merlin. And of course, joining me tonight is Multi, and we'll be bringing to you the first and the second best of one for the Spectral Gaming Cup tonight for your entertainment. And a little bit of a introduction about myself. If you don't already know me, I am a caster for the VCT Oceanic scene. Been casting for the best part of about a couple of years now, and I'm your play-by-play in general. And this is my beautiful duo, Mr. Multi. I'll let you take it away.
Of course, thank you so much, Merlin, for the introductions, and welcome to the stream. We'll be dual streaming here for Spectral Gaming, as well as on TJ Bruce's stream, which is the production in the background. But also a little bit about myself. My name is Multitudes. You can call me Multi. You can call me Brian. I'm in Singapore, and I'm a shoutcaster for both Valorant as well as Marvel Rivals. So really be able to. Glad to be here with Merlin and the team to support some local OCE scenes, right? And right off the cuff, it is a best of 8 teams, just in the simple single elimination knockout. So by the time it hits Fridays, we'll have our grand finals and we'll be understanding who takes away all the pride and glory.
100%. It is a battle between the prospects and the challengers to see who is going to remain ascended and prevail to be one of the best teams in the Oceanic scene. It's important to note that all these teams are trying to become one of the top contenders to break into that VCO level. And tonight, we've got a Haven on our hands. We love to see a stock standard to come through, but tonight it's going to be the 3 sites. I'm so keen to see what this is going to be all about, because first and foremost, we don't have as much context as we typically do when we're casting VCL about how these teams function, what they like to do. I feel like Haven, it's an execute heavy map, Multi, and I'm not sure if it's going to be execute heavy tonight.
Well, we'll have to see once the timer starts to tick in, but you're right, execute heavy, you want to be able to work the map. There's a total of 5 different lanes that lead to 3 sites, and so to be able to really push and pull the team, you've been with me, Merlin, I always talk about that push and pull, and with those triple sites, be it Haven, be it Lotus, this is exactly the whole point. And there's so much initiative, so much prerogative that the attackers have, and if they don't abuse that, it just makes it a little harder to get as many rounds under their belt.
Yeah, 100%. And again, like you mentioned, with the 3 sites, it's options on options on options, right? The rotation is what causes that push and pull, but the decision making is also a critical component. These teams need to make the call to be on the right side, especially on the defender side. When you only have 5 members on your team stretched so thin across, you essentially have to make the correct decision, or you're going to be looking at a pretty big disadvantage on your retake scenario. And looking at the team composition here, we've got a Neon on both teams, Omens coming galore, but it's all double duelists across the scene here. It's very similar besides that ISO and the Yoru.
I feel like that's the new meta, Merlin. Nowadays, a lot of people do run double duelists because it actually proves to be rather fruitful when you're on the defensive side to be able to take those aggressive push-outs. I'm looking at ISO, I'm looking at Yoru to be able to give them a second lease of life if they don't manage to get that one tap, either with the shields or the gate crash to GTFO. And then the Neon's just there to help pull off crosshairs and just maybe even do some jiggle peeking around the corner. I think that helps, especially on SENJR side, right? They're running the Vice, not a very conventional pick, and they don't necessarily have a Cypher Cam or like a Killjoy turret to initiate contact.
Yeah, for sure. I do see SENJR here definitely going to be a little bit more aggressive in the way that they're flashing onto sides on the attacking side. And of course, in defense, I think the arc rows from the side of Vise, albeit less utility to hold sites and hold positions, it will be really good for plotting for information, right? You'll be able to clear angle really quickly and essentially lock down to 1/3 of the map to create an elusive kind of 2-sided map, albeit being Haven here. So I'm excited to see how that's going to go down. And of course, on Synthesia's side, we got to consider the way that the Neons are going to be played on both teams because the support is going to be different, right? We've got more flashes on Sen Jr.,
Yes.
albeit with like, I think 4 different sets. And then you come on Synthesia's side, it's going to be completely different because ISO doesn't have flashes. They've only got a wall and they've got an undercut which puts people into weird positions. So it's going to be a different way of attack, a different way of Neon. So I'm excited to see how that's going to go down.
Indeed, right? The flash is going to be quite interesting. Working the default is going to be very useful for them, and right off the bat, you already see what's been happening here. Just trying to at least deny that Sova coverage on A, the Vice setup. On the C side, it's going to be a very heavy contact into Garage from the Sin folks.
Yeah, for sure. They're going to be running right in a triple with the Razor Vine, puts them lockstep in motion. But it will be Zero finding that kill immediately here as we see Joe falling to the wayside, creating a 4v5. But that's going to be Discipline on the horizon with a double kill from Zach, the Zebra. Hunt for the horses you will, but you won't be seeing the Striped Demon here in C long. And we're looking at all of a sudden a pincer from both sides with Moped and Zero tag down so damn low. And timing is of the essence, and they need to find a kill, but that Frenzy's not going to be frenzying around too much longer as a couple more come down, and that's all they wrote. Sen Jr. find the first.
And I gotta hand it to Zach the Zebra, like the striped demon. They knew how to play it. Firstly, it is right that trigger discipline that was so important. But secondly, didn't try to push on, right? And that meant Sin just was a bit confused. They didn't know whether to push up into CT because they had someone round the flank. You know, it was Moped trying to make sure that it was looking around the back. So no smokes, further smokes available. Well played from Zach.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, they're going to be kicking themselves for actually not checking that corner. And with that being said, already a Guardian in the hand of Barry Forehead with Torta Pounder pushing up forward with the Bulldog here. And you're looking at 4 members so damn close. Be snaking into sewers. This will be a bit of an interesting one as contact is going to be taken here from Barry. Shot can be taken down, but there's too many targets to deal with right now. Shock Dart can be looking to pincer back, an electrifying performance as all members continue the rush. I mean, that's a bit of an interesting play and a bit of an interesting choice. They're all scared about the smoke because they run through completely. And that's going to be the relay bolt actually finding value immediately as you see Torta Pounder going to be finding to the cusp of just 1 death. But still it will be even Stevens as Miss finds 1 as Chicken Jockey answers right back for a 3v2 scenario. But look at this paranoia to cover the flanking option. Timing being of the essence right here as the bomb goes down. And we're looking at a bit of a lull state until these next couple of seconds come in as Criminal Business from the backside immediate to be found. And Joe lands the final there, and that will be 2-0 already.
2-0 indeed. Not too shabby in terms of a retake kind of strategy from Sen Jr. But, you know, considering that Sin didn't buy anything at all, I think it was classics the whole way. I like the look. You know, they basically steamrolled their way through. There was a chance right at the tail end. You know, had that 3v2 situation. In the last 2 had, I think, a Bulldog plus a Guardian. But it is Zach once again with the slow creep up. The shot on the back to find their mark, and then Stinger to nail the rest of it.
Yeah, it was a good effort. I've never seen, you know, a 4-man push from one Omen Smoke to your own Omen Smoke onto the site. We love to see with the relay bolt coming out, but, you know, at the end of the day, the gun advantage is just too massive, but it won't be the case this time around as Zero delivers a bullet straight to Zach the Zebra. They'll be going down immediately as the 4 legs get pincered. You're looking at another pinch to come through from the defenders here.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunate start, right? Zach has to get out of there, and now Sin kind of knows that their advantage is that map control, right? Sin, it's good. It's gonna be a back and forth, Merlin, between Sen and Sin, but Sen Jr. are gonna be stretched, and right now Joe will be the one who hopefully hold off the aggression just a wee bit with a flash, plus those Thor and Smoke immediately followed up.
Yeah, and timing is going to be of the essence right here. Joe sees the gun barrel. That's going to be instantly a kill down for the count. You got to check your corners. As Sin leaving these 90s down for the delivery. And you're looking at, again, sees the gun this time around. So that will be Barry's Forehead. Taken down for Barry Forehead. And you're looking all members here onto the site in 3v4 scenario. Advantage to the side of Sin. But Sen to deliver something further. Trying to get as much value as possible as the Arc Rose might be the linchpin that gets him on to the side. Immediately with the slide out, actually finds her own teammate as Rixie gets 2 and finishes it off. I think that flash actually did more damage to their own team than anything else, but you know, alas, 2-1.
It might have been a team flash, you're right, but you know, it wasn't. It was also because Synthesia able to set up that crossfire at the tail end. I'm really sad about this part though. Like, you gotta check these corners very well. Unfortunately, you know, it was Ricey who was able to check that corner. And I think, you know, we also saw what we the disadvantage of having a silence gun right there, Merlin.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you know, the advantage of that on a map so large like this is that sometimes you can just take duels and there's no sound circle to be ever heard as well, which is absolutely critical. But in this scenario, another default going to be coming out again, pinstring through towards that C-Long and garage area. Zero's going to be landing that first kill on Chicken Jockey with that kill contract, and that will be signed, sent, and delivered right here, right now. Joe in a great position, actually sees Moped, gets the call out immediately, needs to find the kill. That's not going to be happening as Zero again finds a second kill on towards C. Timing of the essence as it will be missed. Love's men finding another one for themselves as Zach the Zebra going to be their diabolical duo to go down for the count. In a 2v5 scenario, Sen going to be opting for what seems like a safe multi, but all of a sudden I feel like Sin warmed up, cracked down, and it's almost flawless.
Yeah, I mean, they really looked like they were turning a bit of a leaf on round 3. As Tortilla Pounder going to be able to find at least one more for their troubles. I'm also looking at the top side of the map. You see that green dot? They dropped, right, the operator, and this is gonna be Miss hunting for it. They know that with a save, they're wanting to maybe clean back this operator. Now the dice, the swing out, Miss will be able to just slip and slide and find Barry on the forehead. And now Tortilla's next.
Yeah, Torta Pounder not gonna be taking the Pound Town just yet, and we'll be seeing a little bit of a different outcome for them as they live to see another day, but it will be a hero rifle this time around. I mean, look at that money. It's almost like giving me back to 2008 Global Crisis vibes in the financial department because it's just all pistols and one rifle right here, right now, and Zero, no rifle in hand. It will be the boomstick, so it's gonna be an interesting angle hold.
Yeah, Zach, Zebra, you know, look at ultimates. Those are starting to come online just about now. Zach, one away from the dimensional drift, but not really looking to take any fights for that orb. Really wanting to make sure that mid is controlled. This is probably the best case scenario if you're kind of on a save buy, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And this aggression, so much space taken, actually puts Sin in a bit of an interesting position, but they're holding the angles here. Sees the head, but actually gets things themselves. Slide through, finds the answer. And that will be the hero rifle coming back for the team. And a second one actually retrieved. Operator shot can be coming out as a Sova drone. This is just so much utility, but they're not even being utilized to take a site. They're actually defending their own spawn, which is a little bit interesting here. But all members here, stalemate again. It seems like confusion all across the board as Zach the Zebra needs to find the flick immediately, but it's not going to be happening as Mist finds one again on the back end of a fight. We find ourselves in another 4v4.
That was the recovery you need, right? You just need the numbers to even things out. I almost saw them run for the A, but I think it was the IGL just making sure that they could hold back and really defend from a flank push, which honestly kind of works sense. Kind of falling back to your sights right now, and the exact on A is just moments to be had.
Yeah, and the execution going to be coming out in a couple of moments' time, like you mentioned here, and it will be that shot that looking to push forth a little bit of action. Relay Bolt immediately coming through, gets a spray down headshot amidst all the chaos that comes through, and Chicken Jockey going to be finding themselves as a bit of a chicken dinner instead. As you see ourselves into a 3v4 scenario, Torta down low, it's going to be all onto Joe again, and hopefully this Arc Rose finds value instead of impotence. We're going to be pushing forward here. Torta Pounder so low on that HP in a crossfire scenario. This is going to take absolutely everything. Walks out for a kill, and it will be Barry's fourth. We think now Rez is going to be fighting go first. Shots fired, and that's it. As Zero lands the headshot once more. 3-2 as Sin clapped right back on Haven.
A pretty good round from both teams, right? Like Sen Sen Jr. doing the best they can with some insane shots. That hero rifle coming in so clutch. But, you know, having 2 rifles, 1 free in the hands, I thought they would push mid just a little bit more. Wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. So, round number 6 we go. Should be a bye round from Sen Jr. Considering, a timeout. They really want to be able to really, you know, make sure they get their footing under having already given 3 rounds away to their opponents.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, although the scoreline looks so similar, it actually is blockaded, right? You see 2 round wins and then instantly 3 losses. And the big call out here is actually the round previous that we just lost on is, you know, how did we come to be in that eco scenario on a round 5, right? Typically, that's not how it works out. It means they forced up on a round, didn't find the dividends that they wanted to. And now we're going to be looking at a buy up again, like you mentioned. But in this case, if Sin win, they're going to be put down, economically speaking, for the side of Sen Jr. for the next couple of rounds after that, which can snowball completely out of control, bring you to a 6-2 scoreline, and all of a sudden, you know, they get a couple more rounds and they've already got you to an 8-4.
I like the way that at least both teams are really starting to feel each other out. You know, like Sin, having lost the first 2, were able to recover pretty well with some good team play and some like slow and methodical shake of things. Once again, this mid will be contested. Chicken Jockey immediately fires off, taps the dome of Mist. Rixie's just right behind. A tick for tat trade so far, and both duelists out of action.
Yeah, and Torta Pounder having to retreat, tail between their legs immediately here, and you look at Zero just going aggressive with a double tap operator play. A couple of, you know, notions can be put towards Garage, of course, and they're going to be swapping bodies as Zero going to be putting forward the undercut. Moped wants to find some more, but again, it's just stalemates across the board as we see a lot of just, you know, equal ground skirmishing. There's finally maybe something going to be changing up here as B and C look optional for their split of choice, but again, they're retreating back to spawn. It's another group up.
Yeah, Rixie actually sent that drone down C, right? And this forces Joe to maybe back off Garage. Barry's forehead pushed up way deep. Normally we see like a Jet or Neon, something with an express method to basically dip out of there, but this is going to be on Barry to really take first contact against their counterpart.
30 seconds
and
left.
This is going to be all 3 members walking forward, but Discipline again, one! And finds one more! That will be Barry's forehead turning to a 5 on the count as we see ourselves into a 3-2 scenario, but it will be a 2-2-1 sight as we see Torta Pounder flashing for 1-2 is all done as we see a 3-3 scoreline evens up right away after the timeout.
Sin. I feel like every time Sin lost rounds, it's because they don't check corners. They just assume that, you know, it's gonna be cleared. There's no way that people pushed up. But man, Barry once again triggered discipline. A bit labored on the second, but managed to find Moped as well. And that's early enough, like a warning, right? This is an early warning system. We have Torta just slide in, claim their kill together with Chicken Jockey. So great recovery, and just to tie things right back up.
Yeah, huge round coming out from them, and again, like you mentioned, you need to check those corners. It's so important, right? And it's seemingly another team flash coming through. I think both teams have their crutches right now, and seemingly so. In this case, Rixie can be actually put into a bit of a rock and a hard place as the cage comes out, but actually blocks their vision. But somehow that paranoia can be assisting there as still no action as Chicken Jockey in a great spot, sees the headshot, doesn't land it as Mist going to be landing that quicker than ever. Barry forehead lands one, and Joe needs to cry out for a bit of help here as Shock Dart immediately comes through, takes him down. And they need to find value now, and that will be Barry forehead, dodging narrowly the Hunter's Fury at the same time as getting a kill on Mist. We're looking at a 4v3 here, but they've got an A site. But the slide forward, how does Torta Pounder find that? It's absolute value every single time as we see the Hunter's Fury come out.
One enemy remaining.
And all members flooding the site right here, right now, as Barry forehead finds the third. It's Sen Jr. pulling ahead once more, 4-3.
Oh, I liked what Mist was trying to do. You know, there was so much pressure that was applied from Sen Jr. onto that C-Long, right? Both from Zach as well as Torta. And so Mist being the Neon here, wants to make so much space, but once again, this is the main issue with Neon's not supported by the rest of the team. There's only so much you can do as a solo Neon. Beautiful recovery from SENJR just to be able to retake this team as a team, and Barry Forehead leading the charge with that Hunter's Fury.
Yeah, honestly, Sova is such a double-edged sword. If you're super good at him, it makes your life so easy on this map, and then it will be chicken jump. Oh, it's idiot on towards the scene. So much chaos coming out. The overdrive actually not going to be successful. It's Quarter Powder going to be landing the shot immediately as Moped answers right back through the fast lane as Chicken Jockey finds 0 during the kill contract. I mean, that was an absolute waffle of words. What the heck was that?
That mid-round aggression, right? I mean, in this case, it did work out for them, and they continue to find gaps as Barry just takes out the Sentinel out of the way, and suddenly, you know, they're feeling pretty good. 4-2 right now leaves Sin in a bit of an awkward situation. They've got the Vice Wall on C. They can feel comfortable knowing that as long as Zach the Zebra doesn't fall too early, they can allow for this much pressure.
Yeah, Synthesia need to work, like their namesake, on the way they're making sound across the map. You know, they're giving too much noise in different aspects of the map, and they're allowing the pushes because it's really obvious exactly where they are. You look at Zach the Zebra, it just is not, you know, just not questioning any other angle. He just jumps right out and looks at Garden, gets the 1-for-1, and Rick's now left in a 1v3 scenario, and it's just going to be back to headshots all day, every day. And you find ourselves with a 2-round lead here as SENJR capitalize on the mistakes and take a win.
Indeed, and I honestly, coming out from a timeout, this is exactly what you want to see. Just the aggression, but not overstepping those boundaries either. You know, great use of the gulag as well, and just being able to rightfully take these safe 1v1s. As weird as that sounds, there are 1v1s that are safer than others. So great start, great IGL calling. 3 rounds in a row after that timeout, 4 ultimates to boot. They look like they might start snowballing here.
Oh, the Odin! I was about to call it out, but it's down for the count already. It's been 2 seconds. And the mythical Greek god gets beheaded by the operator in hand. Boomstick straight to the face this time around. As Zero gets onto the side of the fast lane, still giving coverage. It will be Rixie gonna be finding one as Barry Forehand goes down for the count. And you're looking, Zach the Zebra sees the hand, calls graffiti as the steel guard immediately comes out. It's so much action, but is barely able to see anything. The relay bolt gonna be capturing 0, but still finds 1. And you're looking at 3v3. It's still even Stevens, but this time you gotta check your corners, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna be missed. Finding 2, landing. She finds the final. That's all she wrote for Sin.
Oh, what a heartbreak for the side of SENJR. I mean, they started off 4v3. They had the right timing to come back on that A side with a beautiful start. With a beautiful ult, my apologies. The slide out here, Zach able to find their shots. But holy, you gotta check these corners. I feel like we're trying to scream it through the screens, Merlin. And somehow Mist and Rixie were able to just secure the rest of the round.
I mean, that is, again, you got to be kicking yourself in those moments.
Oh, man.
Can't be not checking those corners, just like you don't check this one. It's going to be Zach the Zebra just finding demolition on the destructive battlefield. And you find yourself again, you need to check him this time around, but somehow Zach again escapes calamity. It's diabolical. It's absolutely insane from this individual right here as SENJR clap right back and find ourselves in a man advantage.
I can't right now. There's been like 4 or 5 times where, like, oh, honestly, in every other situation, these teams are performing incredibly well. But the corners is their demise right now. And so far, so we have a 4v3 retake, starting off with the dimensional drift, just to be able to maybe get some information coming out early. Finds a shot onto Moped through the cage, but Spec shuts it down.
Final couple of moments there as Joe finds the last 2. That will be it as Sen find another win for themselves. I mean, ROI looking, they are leading the charge 6-4, and Sin are the ones that have to work up the mountain right now to pull it back to even.
I mean, Synthesia, my apologies, looked so good until that timeout, and I feel like their boat was kind of rocked. You know, they're not able to really work the map, but once again, these corners, right? Perhaps it almost looked like the Neon looked at that corner, but then decided that no one was around there. So, bit of a hard place. If you're coach or the IGL, wise words, hard words for your team to make sure every corner is cleared with either utility or a hard look.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about foundations and fundamentals, right? And in this case, it's not just about swinging. It's about how you adapt to these disciplinary actions as you just walk into the hands of Zero, finding a free headshot immediately on their half by, you know, thrifty forsake round. And that's going to be a 4v5 scenario already, and Sin in a good spot to find some kind of action. However, Sen need to guard this gun. You know, unbeknownst to Sin, they only are up against 2 hero rifles. So if they guard this gun, they might be able to find themselves a bit of an advantage instead. But seemingly, they're just going to be inserting and reverting. Yeah,
they're not wanting to kind of challenge for that, which is a bit of a waste. I felt like that mid space, there's so much to have. A bit of a misclick right there, Sin. Zero does eat just a wee bit of damage. The drone does come out right now, and this is kind of pulling players back in. Very for it, just wanting to maybe back out of there. Okay, a bit of miscom between Torta, but finally we have the full retake coming through.
Yeah, it's going to be all members onto the site for getting in. And of course, that shock, that was a bit of a love tap for an electrifying play. And Zero gets onto the site completely free of charge. It's going to be Torta finding one. Didn't capture that exactly how it happened, but Zero does return the favor. And you're looking at Specs and Joe all finding kills themselves here. You're landing in a 3v2 scenario in the post lane of Hunter's Fury, still alive, ready and waiting. They're going to be up on full advantage, so they don't commit the third charge, which is a little bit interesting there. I feel like you should have, but it will be a kill on both sides as the thrifty goes to the way of Sin, albeit a couple of hero rifles. That's Sen getting clapped right back again.
I mean, messy, right? Messy throughout the execute so far, but at the very least, I feel like it is a bit of a read, especially from the Cypher. I want to call Specs out because they managed to hold, stay back in their defensive spawn, be able to get the flank on the flank, beautiful kind of replay from a production, and then a double swing out to secure themselves that final diffuser. Not too shabby if you're Synthesia to be able to clap back as such. Now Zero with the ultimate of their own, the ISO. Might want to use that as early as possible, but right now it's going to be on Torta. Not Chat.
Oh my god, what? No way! Somehow Specs will be putting on those glasses to finding the kill on Torta, counting the overdrive, but it will be Zero landing the kill contract this time. Advantageous for themselves. Moped answering right back with a headshot of their own onto the Omen differential, and all of a sudden, the accoutrement right in the front page. That's gonna be Sen left in a 4v2 scenario, all up to Joe. As a Shia gets committed to upon, and Zero actually doesn't know the backside. Paranoia put forth, but Zero's too sharp. Barry forehead last. Man alive, the final soldier. And will they be perfect here? It will be a grave question as the run through immediate. As Miss finds a headshot. I mean, gosh, Multi, that was quite the round.
Switching sides.
That was quite the round indeed. You know, there's only so many times that SENJR can work that fast push that kind of gets red, you know. It's just gonna be Specs around this corner and me flick on to it, able to find their mark, and then just follow-ups. Very forehead will shut that down eventually, but once again, with SENJR managing to, one, check their corner here onto the Vice, and two, getting that kill contract under themselves. The round was over before it ended.
Yeah, it was genuinely what a performance to come out, right? But at the same time, just seemingly so. Synthesia got a couple of crazy spray downs in amongst all of that, and Sen probably weren't ready. You know, Mist was ready and waiting, and Torta probably didn't expect to go down during that overdrive slide. So, you know, can't really be at fault for that when they're just better.
Yeah.
This mid push to come out. Joe's already down for the count, instant from the side of Mist, and Defender's very much more aggressive than the counterpart.
Yeah, it's kind of what we saw Synthesia do as well. And now we're in on that 5v4 advantage to the defense. They can sit pretty at the moment. They know that Joe's shear is out of action. that we see on that left side, but look at how deep that camera is as well from the set of specs, right? This is feeding a lot of information, letting them double stack B, which is precisely where this exec is going.
Yeah, and Miss gonna be first point of contact, but actually gonna be missing all kinds of shots. But it will be landing one as Zach Zebra goes down immediately as Torta Pounder and Chicken Jockey also gonna be answering for their sins, finding kills for themselves in a 3v3 scenario. But now the HP advantage is on the side of Synthesia, and so will the man advantage be as they find themselves an equal trading. But all of a sudden they're off the site, but the plant is not for them, so they're gonna be walking forward into a double crossfire. It's gonna be one, not to second as Zero lands one, but it's gonna be the right click from Ricey that saves the Angels' praise. 7-6 as Synthesia take the lead for one of the first times since the early rounds.
It's been a back and forth so far, Merlin. I feel like it's checkerboards the whole way. And you know, start off with a great aggression, but then bit of a miss city here right there. As we back and forth so far, but ultimately the attackers, like you call it, may have just overextended into that C link. It wasn't planted for them and they had to fight their way back in. It was that classic right click from Ricey that was able to secure themselves that round.
Yeah, this is the double bounce roof dart that's going to be immediately shot out in that case, but a couple of scans going to come through. Interestingly, doesn't find it. I believe maybe a smoke committed there, but does catch already a couple of notions. One towards long. Oh, dart almost going to be landing on towards Torta's feet. But hey, this is going to be 5 classics just making it a rundown, but an interesting reconsolidation from the side of SENJR as they want to leave. Unbeknownst to them, they actually haven't even drawn a single rotate.
Yeah, Sin was, I felt like they were well ahead of it, right? Especially with the IGL just making that call saying, you know, we're just hearing a lot of kerfuffle, but no one's really coming in with some strong utility. And Berry Forehead's really starting to make their way, put some utility into Garage. They still had to manually take out that trip, but now I believe that that penny is dropped. SENJR's gonna find the Zebra. Now the Classics out fighting one more.
I mean, what a performance coming out of SENJR right then and there. Right, gets a double outlaw shot and it just literally stands there like a turret with the classic in hand, and Joe repents the same way. And we see starting looking to find a little bit of action there. Does get the tag down, and Joe falls to about just under half HP, but bomb's not planted. Torta Pounder looking to find a neon flank Karuni. I mean, this is just classic Valorant. The one person that you don't expect to flank is flanking, and the timing is of the essence as Racing actually gets through, slide across, the right click, actually Racing gets the kill. I mean, that is not ideal. The commitment from the whole round finds themselves in calamity. And now the retake gonna be coming in full health, as that's gonna be one. Judge, jury, and possibly the executioner, as that's gonna be misfinding the second. 7-6 is going to be the scoreline, and make that 8 from the side of Sin.
You know, during the pre-show, we talked about the push and pull. The idea for the Sin Junior folks was there, but you know, they didn't have any rifles, so pistols was all they got. You know, honestly, the fact that Torta was still able to get a couple of headshots with that classic was still very impressive. So not too shabby. It does show a bit of a hand against Synthesia, and we'll have to see if they kind of play their rounds a little different moving forward.
There's just no way that you land 2 outlaw shots and then you pull your pistol out, realize you got time to retreat, but decide to just stick the angle. You know, full confidence, and just be like, you know what? I'm gonna land 2 headshots with a free gun before you do, you know? And that's the kind of confidence that you love to look at. Same kind of situation as Rice gets immediately taken down as this newfound absolute wrecking ball of SENJR gonna be coming right in, but the judge again finds a kill for themselves. A second! This missed answers right back with another shotgun spree as you see Zach gonna be falling down for the count in that front, and a 4v2 mind me as what actually gets caught my trip. So Joe's flank is completely thwarted, noted down, and they know there's only one A. I mean, this round's as good as over as Moped sends him right back 6 feet under.
Indeed. I mean, once again, it's those corners, right? Perhaps you expected some sound to be made to work that clone, right? That passed through by missed first, but you gotta double check these once again. You can't necessarily always rely on people not having trigger discipline. Barry forehead now. We'll be able to spot a shoulder. 30 HP.
I mean,
Plant money, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, 30 seconds still to go.
left.
I mean, it's not impossible. Never say it's over until it's over in that front. But hey, it's looking seemingly almost impossible. But you never know. You never know. All you need is 4 bullets to kill and 4 seconds to plant. So as long as Barry makes the run for it, I'm sure he'll be completely fine for a plant here. But again,
10
the
seconds
round
left.
is very close to being over. And I don't think they're going for the plant. Interestingly here, will be a save committed towards and not playing for any possibilities here.
Yeah, a bit harsh for if you decide to send Junior. This was your bonus, you know. You really need to fight back, and unfortunately, not only did you lose the round, you just gave away some weapons onto the Synthesia side to bolster their arsenal. Bit of a hard pill to swallow right now. Scoreline 6-9, and back at it we go again.
Yeah, 100%. And you're looking at Synthesia's buy up here compared to SENJR. I mean, look, there's one thing to expect, you know, financial dominance, right? But at the end of the day, from my personal experience, the buy up will win strategy is just absolutely unrelenting as the jump out gets caught by the kill contract at the exact same time. And like I said, the Stinger always wins. It's just perfect scenarios. But again, dominance too strong in the case of Synthesia. That will be the 10th round, double digits going their way as only one falls for their team. But that will be a showing right then and there.
Torta just got yoinked straight up into the gulag, and then the rest of the team's absolutely dominated.
One enemy
You know,
remaining.
Stinger does. Once again, I wish my Stingers work like that in ranked. They never do, Merlin. They never.
Don't worry.
How do you
me
win
neither.
against an ISO in the gulag?
I mean, long-range kraut spray from a Stinger wins against the Vandal. I mean, that's the most unlikely story you've ever seen. But yet again, it keeps on happening. History keeps on repeating itself. And in this case, seemingly something new. As we see a B-rush coming through from the side of SENJR, but another headshot instantly popped, missed, finding the Neon Diff. As that's going to be Joe landing a kill for themselves. The slide doesn't get completed. There's just a triple walkthrough from the side of Synthesia. Going to be absolutely massive on towards that sheer flank. But will they know? Is there enough time? Chicken Jockey might be making the calls. Sees the headshot, lands one, doesn't find either of the kills, but actually gets taken down by the... Oh, no way. It's absolutely diabolical shenanigans. As you see an interesting scenario, Joe locks it down. The attack is looking too good in this as Zach finds one. A 2v2 still, but they need to defuse and timing is of the essence. The unlikely gun finds the kill first. Zach lands the second and the third. It was almost there for Sin, but Sen found it.
It was. I mean, thankfully, right? SENJR, if you're SENJR, you gotta be breathing a sigh of relief right there, especially because you left Mist kind of on their own. Chicken Jockey, a bit of a fumble, but fortunately the rest of their team were able to fire up their shots.
I mean,
Joe dropping at the last moment to a classic, not the best feel either, but Zach the Zebra able to hold the fort down. A couple of nice, brilliant shots at that tail end,
yeah,
stopping the aggression from Synthesia.
Genuinely was just one of the most craziest rounds, and I think we're already seeing another one brewing up on that front. Mist is essentially run around the whole A main in the first 8 seconds of the round. I mean, like, that's a classic right there. More Valorant shenanigans as we see Dimensional Drift committed to, and of course the life from Barry forehead committed towards as well. Zero looking to land a headshot right then and there, but a blindside going to be blocking that opportunity as Zero takes them to court.
Spike
and
planted.
Gonna be looking like they're defending the wrong site right now from the defending side, but they're being held in a choke point. Joe is literally single-handedly holding 3 members on A, and it's gonna be all on specs. Oh, timing of the essence, fake out. Shot at! Oh my days, what is this stalemate coming through? The push has to be absolutely massive, and somehow Zach is able to get pinted from both sides and be finding a kill for themselves as the Razor Vine immediately comes out, and we're looking at 4 members on towards A main, but somehow kills keep going to the way of the defenders. Dark cover comes out, and that's gonna be Joe's perfect place of disguising, but somehow Moped up shot by Dally over and over and over again, and not a single member falls from Synthesia. But then again, the time! Oh my days, Multi, there's too much to keep track of.
There really is, and honestly, I was a bit skeptical of Zack the Zebra's dimensional drift, but the way they pushed and got control of A just meant they were an absolute nuisance, an absolute thorn on the side of their opponents the entire time. Then Joe come up, and look at how much distraction, look at how much time they bled away the defenders. Brilliantly done. They knew their objectives, and although they didn't manage to kill a single person, it matters not. They got the round.
That's probably why I thought there was time, because someone defused and then got off it during that 5v1 fight.
Right.
That's why they weren't able to defuse afterwards. I thought there was enough time, but I got very confused as to why they didn't make the defuse, and that's exactly why. I mean, you got to trust your teammates in those scenarios, because you got no other option. You have to just stick it. There's no time left, and in this case, we're going to be opting for a new round. But Sin going to be kicking themselves for sure, because there was a lapse in judgment. They had every member alive. But in this case, it will be the start of the same here, as you're looking actually Sen being the winner of the previous round, but on an eco on this one, which is interestingly so. But all 4 members will be playing this post plan out, and a bit of an interesting retake to come through as a 4-man garage, but instant shot to the side of Zero's head. Toward a pounder in a great spot.
We're just gonna try and do the battle of the Sentinels here as we already make our way onto the side. It's gonna be this back and forth. Specs finally finds their mark, missed with a second. The defuse starts up but draws out the Hunter's Fury. Will find their mark twice. That's Ricey out of action.
One enemy remaining.
No way! No way! No, it's absolutely diabolical! Holy moly! That is too close. That is too close on too many fronts. You can't be letting a Thrifty get that close, first and foremost. And then you go ahead and then the bomb defuse almost happens against 3 pistols. Oh my days.
One enemy remaining.
They tried the PRX kind of spin to win strat, and unfortunately didn't quite pan out for them. That headshot just was able to get the nick on this Cypher at the last pause. 0.43 seconds, mind you.
Yeah, Synthesia calling a timeout immediately as well. And, you know, granted, that's probably the way to go. You know, the one round that they lost previous to that one was probably worse, honestly, because they got 5 members alive, and they still lost the round. And that time around, they had 0.43 seconds left on the clock, and they still lost the round against 5 pistols. So that's 2 very, very jarring experiences. You really need to take a timeout and just reset your mental, or else, you know, something like this can very easily cascade into that kind of, you know, domino effect where you just start tilt peaking every single time and you lose even harder. So yeah, I hope they reset, as Sen are on an upswing, mind me.
Upswing indeed, right? The momentum is on their side and they want to continue. They have the flashes, they have the movement tech from both Zack the Zebra as well as Torta. We've seen that in a few rounds so far, getting deep into enemy territory. It's exactly where Sin kind of fall apart. So hopefully they are able to group up and get the trades, rightfully so, as this mid's really immediately being challenged.
Oh my gosh, all 3 members right now in a bit of a stalemate. It's reminding me of B showers at the start of a round, honestly, but it's even mid. In this case, really blocking the investor from both sides, but they're going to be geeking out of it. Going to be Barry, the forehead alongside Chicken Jockey, all fighting kills for themselves. All 3 members of Sin after a timeout get absolutely demolished, casting Calamity onto the forefront of what wants to be played out by Synthesia. Specs and be walking backwards at this point. The knife! No way! Oh my days. Respect given at least, as Joe finds the headshot. But Ricey in a 1v5 scenario is looking unlikely, and probably even more unlikely so than the 1v4 we saw from Barry Forehead. And this will be quite possibly the even Stevens, the 10-10 scoreline from both teams.
I mean, yeah, the momentum continues to build, right? And they're feeling very powerful so far. They basically baited out the push with all these players into garage, and Chicken Jockey was at window just swinging out, collecting names like it's recess. And they're looking to collect even more. Flawless comes out. Ricey can do Nothing else against the Sen folks, but once again dropping to the spike, the bomb out of action. Gotta be a heartbreak there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when your own spike gets more kills than the enemy team, that's when you know there's a problem, right? And this is the momentum building ever so quickly. Like, the tables turn so fast from both of these teams, and that's what I mean about how volatile these best of ones can be, right? There's no second chance. There's no rebound. It's just here, do or die. And Synthesia looking to be doing a little bit more with that judge in the hand. Two of them actually on the side of Moped, and Ricey peeking perfectly here. Darkroads gets committed to wars, and the flash comes through, but somehow Zero turns in the face of destruction and finds another one. As Torta goes down for the count, finding themselves in a 4v4, and I've mentioned this before in our cast, Mr. Multi, every single time an eco team finds a kill and brings it to even, it favors the eco team more and more and more. And this is exactly what it looks like right now. I feel like the team that does the craziest play is winning. And so far, Sin are definitely looking to make a bounce back.
Yeah, 4v4 at the moment definitely favors the attack side because you have 3 sites, and you know right now the slow creep onto this A site just leaves Mist up in the heavens here. As first contact will already spot things out, and you know the slow rotate, not even drawing rotations just in. So this really means that it's gonna be Synthesia with the full retake, but with, you know, a 2 judges and 2 pistols, I don't know how much they can do here.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't catch that on the camera, but Mist actually landed a headshot at long range on Zach the Zebra, and 145 straight to the face right then and there. Pretty much knocks them right out of the park for action, and that judge will be lethal at pretty much every single range now. Ricey taking one down. They know the judge is there. Paranoia gonna be putting out a slap cage, instantly come through as well as Mr. Love's men gonna be coming in, finding kills for themselves in, but it will be Specs instead as Barry Forehead gonna be landing kills for themselves on the second camera. To see more coming through as Specs falls. Sen Jr. hold the site. The post plan is victorious, and Sen come back. We find ourselves in the lead once more, 11-10.
Wow, I mean, it has been a back and forth so far, but I also want to talk about why some of these thrifty rounds are going your way. I feel like sometimes it's them hopping on off angles and just not ready for it, especially when people aren't checking their regular angles. It's a bit hard. So that could be the saving grace whenever there are stingers on board, but you know, apart from that, not much else that Sin could do. They're gonna have to buy up now. I'm looking at Zero with the kill contract that has done so much in the past. Let's see if history repeats itself.
Yeah, for kill contract and Hunter's be ready and waiting right now. Expecting to be finding absolute value with this spray from the Odin. Looking for something more. This spray was actually dead on. Finds so much value, but it's gonna go answer right back. Zero can't find the value like you hoped, Multi. That is gonna be still somehow a 4v4 scenario. However, Joe and Zach tag down. Just if Specs would consider that someone's actually pushed up, it's gonna be Joe finding value despite being tagged down to 64. I mean, that's gotta be just a bit of a gut-wrenching punch, a bit of a sucker Swifty. And in this case, Sen Jr. in a great spot to challenge any site they want.
And looks like it might be that B Moped right on the forehead, but that's flashed out. So Swing will find one. Specs on the Odin to catch the lurk. And oh my days, it's now 3v2. Disadvantage, they're wrapped all around like an envelope. The ping, they're trying to spam the Odin through the walls from garage deep into the site. The camera trying to get this information. And right now, Sen Jr., they're trying to bash their way out from all corners.
And they know they want to plant still, and there's going to be the Hunter 3 now committed, but it's not going to be on the right spot. Ricey, you're going to find them. The Odin spray is going to be landing instead. And you see yourself in a 2v1 scenario as Moped actually puts forward from the shadows for whatever reason to find some kind of human Sovadart play. But in this case, a 2-1 play. But, you know, lucky for Chicken Jockey right here, we see 2 1v1s upcoming because they're not synchronized. And the defuse has to happen at some point. Looking at the recon bolt put forth, Chicken Jockey not going to get revealed. And either, you know, depending on game knowledge, Ricey has to know that someone is backside. And that's absolutely perfect! There's 1-2, but Moped lands the headshot before the body shot comes down. But is there time? It's so close, and I don't think he has it. Just fire here! It's Sen Jr.
.33 seconds was all it took. If they were an inch closer, perhaps it'd be a different story. But right now, we are at elimination point against Synthesia. SENJR able to play their cards right throughout. I mean, it looked dicey. It looked like at any point in time it could have gone either way. But ultimately, man, it was just Chicken Jockey that played it right. Spam through, catching it. Didn't live with their life, but doesn't matter. It is 12 to 10.
Oh, this is just the most gut-wrenching finale, right? Like, in this case, losing by 0.33 seconds. Or you would have been even 11-11 right now. You'd be on the cusp of just taking it home or bringing it to easy overtime. And that's not going to be happening today. As the Steel Guard immediately comes down. It's going to be Joe finding a hedge off themselves as they push out from the suicide. But they're all blinded and somehow kills upon kills. SENJR looking to bring themselves up in growth. As now Odin Spam's going to be fighting one, but it's more than just the consolation prize. As Joe lands one back on towards Zeros, finds one, but it will be the final member ready and waiting. Synthesia, this is the beginning of the end. And can they make a Christmas miracle happen? It will be all on the back end of Specs. Paranoia gonna be missed here as they walk right out. Timing of the S's fighting one. Miracles, do they happen? It's a yes or it's a no. The Arc Rose gets dodged upon. The tension is too much. As Joe gets the quadra. 13 to 10 SENJR. That is Synthesia eliminated as SENJR progress.
Oh, it was a brilliant round, right? I mean, we chose Site A as your battlefield, and ultimately SENJR just persevered long enough with some good trades. The Paranoia was very, very dodgy, but I think the stun came out at the perfect time to hold back the defense, and lo and behold, before you knew it, it was just bodies dropping from the Synthesia side. Let's have a quick replay right now. Look at that, the beautiful stun, and ultimately, I think it was that Steel Garden that was really the linchpin. Specs really trying to isolate each fight, but could not do anything more. I mean, 13-10, what a beautiful back and forth from both these teams.
Genuinely, what a performance coming out from both teams. And I feel like the scoreline here, you know, the ACS is a display of a team of champions versus a champion team. The top performers are Sin, you know, but at the end of the day, Sen are the one that come out with the victory here, 13 to 10. And you know, a huge congratulations to SENJR, but it's without regard that Sin put up a great fight. So huge play from both teams. That was honestly quite an exciting match.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I mean, I'll call it how it is, Merlin. Some of the gameplay that I saw today was maybe a hair better than some of the VCT or VCL leagues that we've been casting for, because in my head, for a Haven map, you have to work it, and I feel like both teams, both Synthesia as well as SENJR, they knew the aim of the game. They were really able to push out when they needed to. They were aggressive on the defensive sides because, you know, they were running double duelists. They knew how their composition is meant to be set up, and so I like the back and forth. I like the map kind of control that they were trying to work, but ultimately SENJR just were able to, you know, push mid just a little bit more, get the right trades at the right time, and it took them, you know, a match and a half, a timeout as well to garner their wits about them, but were able to push it past the finish line at that tail end.
Yeah, 100%. And again, a huge thank you, you know, to the conclusion of that match, first and foremost, to our production team that brought it live for us, that made it possible for us to have such a beautiful broadcast to come through and have, you know, both of us just easily doing our jobs without having to think of anything else besides talking. A huge thank you to TJ Bruce and, of course, Riri and Koz doing our cinematics and observing tonight. That will be SENJR moving forward in the bracket, of course, and Synthesia are going to be eliminated as we go ahead and take a 5-minute break. As we come forward, we will be bringing you VOLTA versus TXG, so don't go anywhere, and we'll see you in 5. And welcome back to the SG Cup 2025. What an absolute banger match from the side of SENJR and Synthesia. Oh, seriously, action-packed, VOLTA. I can't believe that's how it went down. Multiple times. I felt like either team could have taken that game, taken that map, and that would have been it. The whole cup for that opposing team. And in this case, it's which team shows up in the moment. Not even on the day. It's in the moment, in that minute, in those seconds. It was SENJR. And now we're moving forward. VOLTA versus TXG. This is going to be an absolute banger as well. I'm interested to see how this is going to go down. And VOLTA, I think we've heard word about what map this is going to be on. And it's one that you're at least fond of.
I have no fault with Icebox, alright? I think Icebox is a terrifically fun map. There's the verticality, which means that, you know, you're gonna... If you can hit your shots, you can get those hospital flicks. It is an entertaining time for viewers and casters, to say the least. But yeah, having gone through this map pick, Corrode was the last one to be banned out. Wouldn't mind some of that either. But it's going to be Icebox back to the freezing poles of the world here, as we want to bring some icy action, ice in your veins type action here for us.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and Icebox, probably one of, you know, not exactly my hated, you know, maps. But, you know, a map that I definitely enjoyed.
Sova's relevant there.
Hey, look, I loved making lineups on that map. Don't get me wrong, you know? But hey, the verticality gets me every single time, and it's not every day you like to see a chamber stuck on top of some random texture that you get shot out of. So it's not exactly my favorite map, but hey, nothing compares to our production lead's hatred for Icebox. They're a fan of the warmth, and they hate the refrigerator of a map here. But, you know, for us we're keen to see how this goes. And of course, we've casted our fair share together on this map as well. And we know by design, this map is an absolute challenge for most teams that don't have an execute, right? If they're playing contact, they're playing loose, you absolutely get wrecked on Icebox most of the time because of the way verticality works. If you don't account for your angles, you get shot from them.
Yep, it's a lot of making sure that you can scale the sites in a very disciplined manner. There's a lot of close corners leading up to the site, either through that B kind of lobby, long angle lobby, or even the staggered layers of A side. If you don't move together with your utility, you're gonna be punished one way or another, and that's if the defense takes that up. And ultimately it has to be defense to make it painful, because if you give all that free space for the attacker to scale, you're just gonna have such a hard time coming back in.
I fully agree, and the retakes are super tough. And you know, some of the things about Icebox is that it's hard to take a site in Icebox, but once you've taken the site, it actually becomes really easy to play post plant. And that's why, you know, the way that Icebox works is that on the defense side, you play aggressive, right? You try to hold these early choke points that are super critical. So from a, you know, agent select composition, which is a perfect segue here, I'm going to be expecting at least, you know, the typical Sage to come through, the Omen to be coming in as well. But something I want to keep online here is I want to see a Vise implementation. It's something we haven't seen commonly here, and I feel like she could be extremely strong.
That would be interesting. I actually have never seen a Vice on this. I'm also thinking from a verticality point of view, it would be tricky to really figure out exactly where to put that. That could be like maybe right outside the plant point between yellow and that wall in front of the default plant. That could be a spot to really maybe isolate the planter, the spike planter. That could be one. But you know, it's interesting you also mentioned, Merlin, typical Sage. I feel like Sage hasn't really been meta on Icebox, but a few months ago it has really had a huge resurgence here on this map. It's one of the few maps actually, along with perhaps Sunset, that I see Sages a lot more in the professional and non-professional scene. And you know, it's giving me like flashbacks to like early Valorant 2021-esque type metas, you know?
100%. And you know, the kind of resurgence, of course, also comes hand in hand with the new agent releases, right? When Taeho came on board, that kind of dominated this map for sure. But now that Taeho's gone, the reconsideration comes right back. We saw those kind of like no duelist setups come through with the Taeho Gecko composition come in alongside that Vise implementation in the highest echelons of gameplay. But now we've kind of gone back to this interesting double duelist versus a double Senti setup, right? We've seen the Deadlock and Killjoy come through. We've now also seen, I think, Yoru and of course Jet come in as a double. I mean, 2021, Multi, you have called it right out. This is interesting from the side of VOLTA. The 2021 comp is right here, revamped and rejuvenated. And TXG, I mean, we kind of called it on the other side of the things. It's very similar, but we have that double Senti setup.
Yeah, double Senti setup indeed. You know, a lot of utility that can hold the flanks and allow them to maybe sneak up like tube as well as mid onto boiler. That could be a strategy for TXG. I'm looking at VOLTA. You know that during just a few minutes ago, you and I talked about the need for the defense to be aggressive. Double controller doesn't necessarily lend them that, so I'm looking at SENJR, the Omen, to play some aggressive smokes, maybe get Max on the jet to get an aggressive angle. You have to make it expensive for TXG, or else this scale up is for free.
And I don't know about you, Multi, but this is definitely a resurgence of the double name on Tundra, because TXG themselves have a Multi on their team.
What?
And we've seen this before. We've seen this before. We've casted one of them their games before for sure, because I remember when I was having trouble calling which Multi out, and this is going to be an interesting one for sure, as we thought Sen and Sin wasn't hard enough. This time we got two Multis.
We do indeed. Okay. Well, that'll be interesting. I'm just pouring the vibes in right now. Right now, you have to understand, Merlin. My name is on screen. My name is represented. Right. Right now, I'm a biased caster from here right now. I'm TXG for the win right now. All right.
Look, I completely understand. There's nothing you could do when it's your same name. You gotta support it, right? And I guess I'll sit on the other side. VOLTA will be part of my gallery, as we're gonna be looking at Max, SENJR, Merciless B, and CJ coming through on this defensive side. I mean, it's going to be interesting because the double Senti's on attack in this case, so it really comes down to VOLTA just staunching their push, because it will be easier than them going into a double Senti setup. And I think we already see that notion. Snakebite, double, push forward from the Sova and the Jet, of course, and Max looking for these angles, but I think it's the wrong letter of the alphabet just yet, as it's still just a default on both sides.
Yeah, Max actually, dashed out of there. Maybe a bit too early. Doubles back for the orb at least. The default comes out true. No one's really shifted positions too much. So I think they maybe just trying to figure out where these teams are. But at the moment, Vault feeling is that B side, right? They've put a lot of attention onto that, leaving a single player onto this A. And this is the power of that Viper smoke. And Galaxis through that Viper wall will find Merciless. Now A doesn't have that Viper wall as a defense. This guy's just gonna be able to walk on for free.
Oh, I mean, you know how I like to call it, and I call it like it is. It's a charitable offense coming out from the side of VOLTA, giving away the site free of charge. Landing a plant to be coming through for the play here, but it's going to be saved Europe, and B going to be finding one for himself. Somehow going to be answering right these balls on these shots, and it will be Galactic looking to find anything here just to put him back, but the right click's too strong. I mean, maybe it was, the Red Cross versus the Salvation Army in that one, because it felt like it was a bit free from both sides in that scenario.
Yeah, they actually had the site pretty deep in. They could have maybe set up some utility. I'm just looking at Glitchgull's utility right now. They actually bought Sheriff, so it's all pistols nonetheless. And when you're able to play around with those right clicks, you're able to get away with absolute murder. So Vault first on the board, Outlaw, Guardians and Bulldogs in have a Spectre as well. Meanwhile, TXG not going to be able to buy out, very much similar to the last couple of halves that we've seen during the first matchup. So wouldn't be too surprised, but it can go still either way. TXG are in it to maybe give me a bit of a shock here.
Yeah, honestly, it was a little bit funny in the sense that, you got the post plant down, but ironically, being the double Senti setup, that was the kind of action that you'd expect to win. But it will be Merciless coming right through, like the namesake, completely merciless in their shot being taken. Will be just 4 classics ready and waiting here, sitting on towards that B side of things here, but it will be Glitchgull actually finding a kill for themselves. CJ going to be kicking themselves for not checking the complete angle in danger, but it will be Europe coming through with a double Guardian play, and it will be B digging around, finding 2 for themselves as well. That's going to be collectively a 2-0 for VOLTA.
Not too shabby, right? The double controller setup really starting to take place and take shape for the side of Volt. They put that snake orb down mid. They allowed the push of both Glitch Gull as well as Vanilla up into Kitchen. Was able to get one for their troubles. But this is the kind of play we want to see out, because that might start conditioning for the side of TXG, right? With the default Viper smoke plus possibly an orb down mid. This would really pull perhaps some of the attention to B and hold it there.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, VOLTA have a really easy time reading this because that's the only set of smokes that TXG have. So if they choose to not go towards the way that the Vipers put up that toxic screen, they're essentially going in naked, no smokes, in towards the other side. So it's pretty easy to stack the right side in this case, and you've already seen the rotation start to come through as Nano Swarm going to be defending off against the enemies. But it will be Merciless going down as Galactic finds another crucial headshot towards Snowman's side of things. As the plant starts to go down, Glitch Gull looking to hide from the bullets, hide from the action as a Nano Swarm of their own going to be coming down immediately here, and you're looking at a 5v4 scenario. Make that a 5v3 as the Caster's Curse comes ready abound, and all members here looking a little bit weaker on that gun advantage, and the bonus it's getting a little bit dicey, and I think this might be where the round starts to fall apart for VOLTA. And I mean, Multi going nuclear. Glitch Gull going to be landing one for themselves as well as the final member who's stuck in their jail as Max falls as Vanilla finds him. Multi, that is a 2-1 scoreline, and it's clean.
Merlin, my heart fluttered a little bit when you said Multi went nuclear, which they absolutely did. And, you know, without the smokes from the defense side, it's just so hard to be able to scale in all these sharp shots, all these Vandals outplaying the Marshals that VOLTA had. So, nothing too surprising so far. We end up in a standard 2-1 kind of score line thus far. And now, you know, this is where the meat and potatoes really has to come out. No ultimates just yet, so still be abilities as we set our sights back on this B. You called it right, you know, they have the Viper's wall on this B side. I feel like they are almost have to press this B and force some utility out of Volt's side. But this would open things up. BB Max had perhaps overstayed their welcome.
And it's going to be a free peek through the toxic screen. I mean, you might as well hand it to them on a silver platter. And that's going to be B also going down for the counters. Max dies on the other side. Completely correct, Multi. That's going to open up the map completely here. And look at the uncertainty coming out as they have to fight these fights in hero plays. That's the poison card right then and there. A perfect shock dart actually denies the plant in time. It will be saved. Europe saving the round instead. But that's all she wrote. Not good enough and not enough to save the whole thing altogether. TXG still fighting the second round, albeit expensive.
They're working with that single controller so well, right? Like the fact that Vanilla was able to really get BBC, that's the first one, and then hold people in the mid round to be able to hopefully get their team a bit more space, a bit more breathing room on that B side. 2-2 goes to scoreline, and with every 2-2 coming up from a 2-1, this means that VOLTA will be on a safe. Sheriffs across the board has the Hunter's Fury. That could be the saving grace here, but Max just dancing around with fire. Even though those defensive smokes have come up, we'll have to back up with the rest of the team here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the scoreline might look even, but the guns definitely do not. The economic disintegration from the side of VOLTA is truly felt. They built up a great start, but it's just crumbling to pieces. Galactic going to be answering right back with a headshot, but it's the flank from Vanilla looking to put forth some Neapolitan plays. As that's going to be CJ going down for the counter. Had landed right then and there as Multi trying to not whiff right now. Finds a bit of critical activity into their own hands. But they won't miss the third shot in a 2-bullet gun. It will be a third round for TXG.
A nice clean up crew. I mean, they positioned these players all the way deep. The Jet had gotten all the way in through market as well. Not really needed for any sort of action. But at the last possible moment will secure themselves the B at that final third shot. Goes the Outlaw. 3-2. Not so shabby right now. And VOLTA has to strike back. Let's look at the setup right now. 3-2. 3-2 across this map. Leaving but a single alarm bot covering this this midsection. Nope, the turret's still at Bowler as well. SCB just repositioning for that, but it might be a fast one onto this B.
Yeah, for sure, and it's going to be all up to Multi, and we have to hope whether or not Multi's shots are going to be as good as their casting. As you see, that's going to be the Viper's Pit coming down immediately. This spike's not even there yet, but of course, Space already grabbed, and you can see, you know, the cohesion from the team just wrecking ball forwards, and I don't think they've actually caught Glitch Goal, but Glitch Goal's head's going to be captured for sure. His back's immediately going to be answering right back, and that's going to be 2 tags on. They saw the TP out from the chamber side of things, and it will be Europe and Merciless landing kills for themselves immediately here in a 5v2 scenario. I mean, how did it go so wrong? And all of a sudden, the Pit becomes their own prison. Galactic in a bit of a stalemate between the wall and sure death. You're finding yourselves with a 1 kill, and that's going to be Vanilla. You see they're going down for the count as Blacklist and Land War. It's going to be second guy. Find the third off the count. Gets the hat-trick, but loses the round. It will be Volta back and forth, finding their third for the series.
Yeah, very unfortunate for TXG, right? They were actually really relying on Glitch Girl to lurk through mid, under tube to find something, but just turned away at the wrong location, and then suddenly everything started to collapse around this Viper's Pit. You called it right, like their prison. Galaxis trying to make a hero of themselves at that tail end, but there's only so much you can do in that 1v4 situation.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it was a good answer to a question that wasn't proposed. I don't think they needed to put the Viper Pit down because the challenge wasn't there. There was no one considering taking the site from you during the plant. They were trying to take it after you planted. So you should have opted for a forward Viper's Pit instead of a defensive one like that, which kind of created so many holes in your defense because of the new walls that got put forth. But with that being said, new walls and new letters as they're hitting A. It's going to be Multi first person onto the board here as you're looking at B, going to be finding kills for themselves as Max also answers right back with a Blade Storm, and Multi finds the right click immediately. I mean, it's unreliable. Somehow that's going to be working out for them. It's Vanilla needs to find one, but answered right back with more knives from the side of BBC Max. I mean, I didn't know the British broadcasting company honed knives for a living, but you're looking at a sharp defense coming through from the side of Volta. It's going to be Max with a third. Final member alive, Glitch Go hiding in between corners. And that is going to be all they wrote. The defense has to defuse now. They somehow find one, and Glitch is not getting spammed out, but finally does. Is there time? There will be more.
Oh my days.
And enough. 4-3 is the scoreline after it all.
I'm sweating. We've had way too many close diffuses thus far, but I think there was a half diffuse at that tail end, so just 3.5 seconds for that final second half of the diffuse to come out. A lot of flanks on flanks thus far, and you know, with the utility not necessarily holding the back here, there's Vanilla to be able to find at least one. Holy, 1 second left on this diffuse.
Yeah, sweet honey B making that final defuse there is absolutely crucial. Starts them off onto the run up for more of those orbs, just to get that second Killjoy lockdown as soon as possible. And crucial point going to be coming forward as you see the toxic screen and a counter poison cloud in the exact same spot. It's the same play. Plant right then and there. They're going to shock dart it for free. And that's not going to be what they want to look for as Multi somehow finds the kills. Merciless has to push up on it, but it will be Aria letting one as Galactic continues the domination onto the scene as well. And that's going to be a TP out as good. Somehow Europe finds one on 10 HP and Glitch Skull going to be landing the one on full HP there. I mean, it's messy, it's chaotic, but in the end of the day, it's the gun advantage. TXG find their fourth.
Yeah, they knew the aim of the game. You know, gun advantage means B site, longer sight lines to be had, which means that you should be able to hit those shots as opposed to your opponent. Once the Viper wall dropped, kabing, kabang, kaboom, it was kind of over and done with. 4 players standing for TXG. Let's look at those ultimates as well, right? Volta, Merciless at the very least, with that Viper's Pit just coming online. Might want to figure out how they want to work that, possibly deploying on that B pretty early. But once again, TXG know and have found success so many times on this B. And so they want to go again. Defense not looking good Arsenal-wise either.
Yeah, Volta's actually opted for a quick rotation immediately from the sound cues from the side of B, and they've understood that TXG like to just go. They don't fake. They just go for the kills immediately. They just go for the site immediately. They want to get the plant down, play that post plant because they have the double Senti setup. It's cracked the code! And VOLTA have no reply because the gun differential is just too large. Both Nano Swarms completely taken down for the count with a shock dart, courtesy of saving Europe. See if they can save this round one more time as Lockdown immediately comes out from the attacking side. And you look at Multi needing to push out right here, right now, but Max already knows! But runs into their own sure death as that's going to be TP out of Stroud and Steph somehow not going to be fighting battles with themselves. GJ answering with a headshot instead, but Galactic with a hat-trick bodes too much. It's all she wrote, and Merciless falls for free towards TXG Vanilla. Gosh, these rounds are too close and too chaotic from both teams right now.
Fast and Furious was TXG's name of the game right now, right? Hit B twice. Hit B once the first time, and then maybe the defense thinks, nah, they're not going to do that again. Then they go again, right? Round 2 goes the way, bring themselves in the lead here for the second time at round number 10. These players are able to click heads and click heads well. Volt now on the defense, looking like they need a bit of a resurgence, wanting to push a bit more on this B. They found a bit more success during those kind of envelopments on A, and hopefully this will turn the tides for them.
Wait, that dart's a bait. That dart is an absolute bait. It reveals absolutely nothing, but somehow Multi falling to the ground finds the footing first. Cat with 9 lives always falls flat on their feet, finding a kill immediately. And you're looking at a reveal on towards B. Somehow gets the value in a 1-for-1 scenario, but it's still a man advantage. I mean, TXG are hard, fast, and superior on these shots. It will be Glitch finding one, 3 for 2, and the defuse needs to come through. And they have to start with the pressure to find these picks, but it's not happening at all. Merciless can be taken down mercilessly, and you're looking at TXG with the firing squad. That's all she wrote. That's 6 and 4, and for the first time this game, TXG or either team for the matter find a 2-round lead.
Yeah, 2-round lead, a bit of a breathing room from your perspective, and holy shit, you called that right? It was just either Utilitia or Gunna at the wrong time, and it was Multi with just a quicker headshot to that dome. Max couldn't do anything more despite bringing a crusade of team members through the rear onto the A, flipping the site back and forth. Volt, just a couple of rounds left to try and figure themselves out right now. As B is gonna be looking at perhaps a second or third Fast and Furious, but Multi misses the shots.
There's no way that you just dash out into the open. I mean, you're not handing out free samples. You're trying to get kills here. As you dash out into the gracing hands. I mean, literally, B didn't even have their gun out, but hey, pulled their ones out faster. That will be a 1-for-1 trade on the back end of things as 2 ultimates go down for the count. No Blaze Storm, no Vipers. Pit. You find ourselves in a 4v4 scenario, and they still need to take the site. Glitch gonna be planning in the safe spot right here, right now. But the Hunter's Fury gonna be put forth. Need to find a little bit of a tag. Somehow catching only thing but emptiness as Galactic soars forward, finds 3 kills for themselves, finds the 4th on point for the ace against the 9. Mr. 4K as Europe starts to come through, but they can't save more than 2. It's 7 to 4, but again, TXG, messy and chaotic, thriving under the pressure as VOLTA start to crumble.
Yeah, that was a much needed round actually for the side of VOLTA, considering that now, it's the last round of the first half. They're going to be walking into round 12 with a very deep, the finances are broken. So let's look at that. 3 regen shields, 1 full with Merciless on a Sheriff. Unfortunately, not much they can really play around with right now, so they'll have to really try and make the defenses work. Hopefully, it will go their way.
An interesting dart coming out from both sides, of course, as it doesn't seem to reveal just too much, but a great tag could have come down, but dodged out. You gotta be moving with those Hunter's Furies at the same time, Mr. Arium, but it's not gonna be happening today as not enough space gets cleared from the side of screen, so they don't have the confidence to actually push out as B actually finds a free kill on the lurking Glitch goal. In this case, a 4v5 scenario, but it was actually kind of handed over for free, and will they hand over more? Merciless finds the kill, a little bit of labor of love. And you see ourselves into a 5v3 scenario with the Blade Storm alive, ready, and waiting.
I mean, if you're Volt, you gotta feel very good about this. The fact that you're able to just dance around, even find the multi-knives out of action. Merciless now armed with a Vandal. The tide is turning, and it looks like it's favoring VOLTA at the moment.
Yeah, and interesting from the shadows here, just to grab a little bit of information.
Wow.
So they have made the call that they have to... What another bait dart that is! I mean, like, you can't be doing
30
these! There's
seconds
no
left.
way! There is absolutely no way that the dart doesn't reveal and baits the team into somehow finding the winning kill. I mean, that's not how it's supposed to work, but we'll take it.
Taken out.
And that's going to be Ari, going to be finding a second kill for themselves. Gets a couple of tags down as Bulldog from the back. Going to be not fighting, just barking for free. And B finds the final sting. It will be VOLTA finding the 5th round. It's 7-5. And honestly, with how the rounds have gone, Mosey, this is honestly quite an expected outcome, right? It's so close from both teams.
It is so close indeed, right?
Switching
TXG, single controller, trying to work the map. The explosive rounds have been really successful so far. You saw them slow down a little bit just to be able to maybe do some creep ups, but right now, VOLTA were able to really work
30
it
seconds,
well
30 seconds
from the
left.
defense and get
enemy remaining.
their individual picks, despite, you know, them being down on the count in terms of arsenal. And then right there, the final drop, B will be able to secure themselves that 5th round. So TXG flips on their head, defense on their side. And with double sentinel, I mean, this could work their way fairly well.
Yeah, double sentinel versus double controller right here, right now. But in this case, I have to put it towards the points in the double sentinel spot, especially with a chamber that can abuse verticality. But interestingly enough, not going to be abusing verticality in this specific round. To start off, will be Galactic here as they're going to be forcing a 5th man stand. Is missing 2 shots crucially there. Is not going to be boding well for the team as immediately the side's going to be looking to get taken. As you see, Nano's form's going to be coming right out from the defensive side. It's still a 5v5. This pistol round looks crazy as Arya lands 2 shocks. What is that?
What?
There is no way you allow an electrifying performance to come through in that
Last player
fashion.
standing.
As Arya gets 3, a hat-trick delivered. Finds the headshot there from B, but that's all they wrote. A 4-1 trade as TXG make it easy for themselves.
I mean, Ariane on the attack side had those very, very interesting bait darts. Now coming out with shock darts that will shock an R. Look at that. Beautiful cinematics from observers to catch the action. 2 down, and that's all she wrote, you know. Not 8 on the board now. And that's when you can really start steamrolling, get double digits before you know it.
Yeah, and they're definitely drawing that conclusion closer and closer, and it all comes down to momentum. They've got that 3rd round of a lead right here, right now, and they're on the anti-eco form of things. What are these Sova darts? I have to call them out. They are just diabolical, man. That's not the right place to be going. There is a stock standard one that works out the best. It's the one that goes through the top little nook and cranny that reveals both main and towards that heaven side of things, but it doesn't matter, does it? As it's still just going to be absolute domination on the team that actually has no money. It's gonna be a near perfect side take as VOLTA with classics alone are finding so
Spike
much
planted.
value, and all you're left up with is gonna be Galactic and Vanilla to pull the pieces together. Jigsaws
Last player
arrive,
standing.
and that's gonna be the last player standing. Galactic has to put a Galactic effort into pulling this one back, but I don't think that's gonna be happening.
Thrifty.
Oh,
Not just a thrifty, a flawless thrifty, right? They're able to collect the weapons strewn on the ground from the bodies that were dropped. And I think at the moment, I think I saw Glitch Girl as well. You know, the Killjoy stationed on A just kind of give up, right? Like they just weren't even trying to pick heads anymore because it was just a bowling ball, a wrecking one at least, that Vault came smashing and stealing away that anti-eco.
yeah, honestly, that was quite the play to come through. And if there was a one linchpin, one pivot point within the round,
ahead.
within the game and the map, that would be the one. The eco win.
Yeah.
You know, if for some reason TXG Touchwood aren't able to clinch this one out, that's going to be the round that haunts them. VOLTA need to take this advantage that they have earned with their 2 hands and run with the torch to pull it back to even, very, very least. And they've got all the advantage to do with it because right now they've put TXG into a terrible financial position. And it's going to be Europe immediately finding one with a headshot through the wall, and a rotation towards B is going to ensue.
Yeah, I mean, smart play from Volt so far. Just a small skid up onto A, but like waiting for those rotates. They have the long-range weapons. They want to be able to play it now. Smokes in hand, double controller means you get some additional kind of coverage on this B side. Plant will come down, but soon to be enveloped by the rest of TXG.
Yeah, an interesting play to come through there. The updraft definitely heard by B, I believe. That's why that turret came down. But it will be the smoke cloud burst, going to dodging some angles here, but gets taken down immediately anyway. CJ finding value. Max, he tagged down incredulously low by that. Instead, Save Europe going to be landing the shot right back, taking Blackie down for the count. As Merciless also lands one, and the final member going to be Vanilla here with a ghost now, but barely picks it up. Can't even use it. That will be the headshot delivered as VOLTA clap right back. We're within one from both teams again.
Yeah. And I gotta hand it to the animation team for that ghost animation. It honestly looked like it still has to assemble the ghost before it fires off. So no shots in hand right here for Vanilla. Flawless round once again for round 3 in the second half for Volt. Just chipping away at this point differential here in the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted a close game. We wanted, like, the best of ones. The last thing you want is an absolute blowout, and this is nothing like that. This is a complete opposite play. You know, we thought the lead was coming alive. And just as we thought that was happening, the rug gets pulled from under us, and now all of a sudden, we're back to 7-8. Another challenge to be overcome for the side of VOLTA to find themselves back to even. And this is where it all comes down.
Multi has the operator as well. Has been fired off, forced off, and oh look, Volt leaves scrambling. Tail tuck, perhaps they might not want to enter into this. A lot of their moves have been telegraphed. Pretty nice and neat, but they haven't made any space on that B side. Galaxis, you called it chamber, up top high on that yellow will be first contact if anything.
Yeah, and Multi's also low. You know, we've seen that dink come through, and they're essentially a one and done position right now. Galactic needs to see that head come through and doesn't opt for the TP, so still has that advantageous verticality, but it's not going to be of use, especially if they're not going to be playing here. Wait a second. Wait, they don't know.
Geez.
There is no way that they don't know that CJ just TP'd there. There's sound that comes down. It's diabolical. Oh my days, I mean, a couple of constellation kills going to be coming through immediately as you look at the back-to-back 1-2 scenario. Oh my days, Multi, what in the heck is happening?
I thought that Multi, the player, not the caster, would have heard from the shadows, but evidently Glitchgall just running around didn't hear anything. So 2v1 positioning, Galaxis late to the game, has to find a kill before anything.
Yeah, it's going to be a 1-for-2 scenario, and that's going to be the first. And all of a sudden, it will be Max on the defuse denial. Doesn't have the updraft, immediately has to take the rope, but the time is of the essence. Needs to peek out now, needs to find a headshot. It's not even planted for him! Oh my gosh! No! It's DSC with a freebie in their pockets, and they take it and run. As they give the eco, they receive a round back. Oh my days.
How? You let Sanjay do all this work with a brilliant from the shadows. You left in a 3v1 situation on that A side. They had a tick for tat trade, and you just let Galaxis stick the whole way.
Yep, that's a timeout coming through as expected.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, it's a jarring round to lose. I mean, it's the one that felt unlosable, right? You pull off an absolutely criminal play, disgustingly grotesque, and somehow in the final hurdle, which wasn't even a hurdle, mind you, you lose. It slips from under you because of poor planning, and TXG are now back in the lead. That's going to be something that haunts your nightmares itself.
Indeed. Timeout called. 60 seconds to kind of recuperate. I'm pretty sure if I was on the VOLTA team, I'd be kind of fuming a little bit. But, you know, it is Valorant. What's done is done. You look forward. You try to regain some semblance of normalcy. You did very well so far in the first 3 rounds. First 3 rounds of the half to be able to get round 14 and 15 under your belt. So here we go again, back to the drawing board. It is no operators just yet, but an aggressive push from TXG down B, right? Calling it right, getting all this map control so far, nothing challenged, which makes it very easily telegraphed that it might be an A.
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, from the side of VOLTA, they have a second set of smokes that can threaten the site, of course, but it's become obvious. You know, the double push from behind, it will get found out by the turret, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's facing the wrong way. Oh, no,
Whoa.
There's absolutely no way that that's been the play that's come through, and all of a sudden the double flank is realized. Oh, Galactic going to be in a prime position. Back towards the wayside immediately here. It's going to be B, going to be chopped down, but does find the headshot for the side of Galactic. They don't know that a second member's here. They're going to be catching the rotation. It's going to be absolutely perfect from the side of Multi, and Multi, like the namesake, needs to find this multi-kill immediately. Peeks out. 1, 2. It's perfect from the side of Multi. Sees the head. Looks to land something more. Europe needs to come in.
Okay.
Bit of an interesting dogfight to come through as Multi's tagged down low. Does have the regen shield to bring them back to about 59 HP. But the damage is done. TXG have found an absolute criminal flank from the ears of VOLTA. But will VOLTA actually prioritize? I don't know if Merciless actually has been found out. Glitchhole going to be finding a kill for themselves. Merciless going to be landing one for themselves as well. So we'll be creating a 1-2-2. They're under him! No way! There is absolutely no way that Merciless didn't see them on the bottom left corner, but somehow realism is realistic. You see ourselves 10-7. TXG get away with murder twice.
Wait, production, do we have a cinematic shot of those two players both facing the same way? Because that would be hilarious, right? I mean, they got really close. Merciless had the flank of a lifetime to catch some players. They just ran out of time, unfortunately, to have their plans flourish. So it wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. Smart ideas, but unfortunately, just let the flank from TXG make you ashamed of what you've done.
Yeah, for sure, and that's going to be an honest push coming through, and look at this mid push again, and you can already see VOLTA's turret going to be completely changed up, right? They just are so scared of the flank at this point. They're going to put it right in front of themselves, and I think it's going to be heard out. They see it peeking. Oh, a cheeky angle from the side of Merciless here, but that's not going to be pushed upon because it sounds obvious. But look at all this space from the side of Vanilla. I mean, Vanilla is right there ready and waiting, and it's a stalemate through and through.
Yeah, you know, they're basically trying to bait out the B wall, right? They've been using that up and down a couple of times, but so far, nothing else has been made. So it's going to be an A push right now. Multi and Gikko will find two for their own, holding back the defenses. Around this goes. B will find their counter through the boxes. Bit of ping, but the plant will come down.
Oh, it's going to be a 2v2 scenario now, and Galactic has that tour de force and is looking to put the friction to the fiction. But it's Vanilla's flank. Just too good. Every single time. Going to be eating that. Oh. Yes. I mean, detained whilst no one else is around. Going to have to play with your own two thumbs instead as the fuse eventually comes in. TXG with these flanks 2 rounds in a row. I mean, it's got to be cracking onto the nerves of VOLTA.
Yeah, I play Killjoy a fair bit on this, and I'll let you know that the moment Killjoy pushes too far into A side, like just past Gen, that particular placement becomes a non-valid thing. But to be fair, I think B got, Glitchhole got taken out pretty quickly, so it could be either or scenario. Just Vanilla being absolutely domineering from the back, and I feel like that has been Volt's kind of kryptonite so far, right? Like to be able to be enveloped pretty quickly like a tortilla and just none the wiser.
Yeah, buried in like a burrito, as they typically say, for sure. And you know, VOLTA, that's the problem with the composition. You don't have enough Sentinel utility. They have 2, you know, and they get to opt for the flank because they have enough utility to actually hold a side with their second Sentinel. It makes a lot of sense, but Glitchhole somehow just spraying through. You're going to be fighting a kill for themselves as well. And they're going to have to ride it to 410. They're ready for it. Orange just there spraying and praying. And it will be the prayers answered as the Angel's Call gets completely denied from the side of VOLTA. And all of a sudden, the tasers to their next to Jay going to be answering right back for the consolation prize, but it still will be just a 4v2. TXG in a commanding position, like you typically say, Multi. And, I mean, they're going to have to climb the mountain.
I mean, it starts with that one. Vanilla now out of action. The Viper's pit now traded, but Merciless will be shut down. And just as that pit comes up, it goes down. 4K Tarian. And that is going to be match up point.
They didn't even get the blueprint out for that Viper's pit. Oh, that is just so sad to see. Because, you know, that could have been utilized for their comeback. It's possible, but now all of a sudden the crazy tool just gets thrown into the wind. I mean, again, it is the Salvation Army tacticals right now coming out as they're just serving themselves on a silver platter more than once this game, and TXG are just merciless about it, unlike the namesake of the player. They take that and completely rip you to shreds.
Start things off here. A lot of commotion. Hunter's Fury to start things off. Just trying to catch one randomly from Kitchen into the rest of these players as they flee. We'll find one. Knives out of action for Max. TXG looking pretty good so far, but they have already lost Vanilla.
Yeah, the key smokes individual, the controller down for the count, which means it's going to be all up to raw gunfights here. And Arian finds the first. I mean, that is a sober differential if I've ever seen one. And that will be, you know, encapsulating the attacking team. VOLTA now might just be at the beginning of the end unless B can make a miracle happen. They're getting enveloped from both sides, and we've been talking about this the whole time. It's the pincer play. It's the maneuverability of the way that TXG handle themselves. And it's going to be the beginning of the end once more as B needs to pull out more than just the Sting this time. They have to pull out all unadulterated demolition, and they can't do it.
Defenders
It's
win.
13-7. It's
Okay,
TXG
everyone,
near
take a test
flawless
tube.
on defense, as we mentioned previous with a double Senti setup. It's them with the victory, valiantly progressing on in the bracket and eliminating the other team.
Indeed. I mean, TXG were so good on their defensive, right? They were able to really push out as and when they needed. VOLTA didn't really have an answer for any sort of flanks that came around the back, and you know, even that Pent ultimate round,
Enemy remaining.
the decision for VOLTA to push into a stacked Viper's pit was painful, and they were punished heavily for it, unfortunately. So 13-7, well-deserving win for TXG.
Yeah, TXG in commanding fashion. It was close, albeit on their attacking side. It was definitely very, very, very crazy and chaotic. And they were able to just come out on top with a 7-5 scoreline. But on defense, that double Sentinel setup rang true. And we talked about it beforehand, right? We knew that this was going to be a strong defense coming out from him. And it was pretty much flawless, like we mentioned. And VOLTA are going to have to be going back to the drawing board because this Comfort 2023 pick'ems not going to be working out in their favor this time around.
Yeah, you know, I kind of alluded to it with double controllers on your attack side. You kind of have to play the map a little bit, but we kind of saw VOLTA on your attack side just grouped up onto A one too many times, and you know, with no contest coming out from the peripherals from that mid, it just let free real estate for the side of TXG to walk up and claim and get some beautiful flanks. So you know, you find it your win condition. TXG exploited it to the very drop and found some insane kills and insane rounds for themselves. But you know, VOLTA put up a very valiant effort. I want to say it was very enjoyable to cast, and hopefully just as enjoyable to watch as well.
100%. If you did enjoy the cast, of course, everyone at home, thank you so much for spending your time on this beautiful Monday evening with us on some of this action-packed gameplay of Valorant for today. And that will be pretty much us. We've got the two best of ones out of the way. We will be back on Friday, however, to be casting the final endings of this tournament of the SG Cup. So do tune in for that, of course. Super excited to be back with Mr. Multitudes again this Friday. With that being said, that will be us tonight. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for supporting us. If you have some feedback in the chat, do let us know. We really are keen to hear it. But stay sexy, stay loyal, stay royal, stay hungry, stay hydrated, everyone. Take care of yourselves. And we'll see you on Friday. Good night.